I would agree. I believe it was Tamara that said that education was really hurting right now. I would agree. I think that upskilling for educators is really key, and also upskilling for a lot of parents who found themselves in the default role of TA, trying to facilitate their children's remote learning in an era where there were no footprints in the snow to follow. I would also say that not just for education, but for everyone, it's not just about the tech and the tools that are needed to embrace digital and embrace a world of working remotely, but it's the processes around those tools. It's sort of like, Jira isn't a bullet point. Like how are we going to integrate that in our organization? How are we going to get people acclimatized to this? How are we going to ensure adoption of this organization wide? How are we going to enforce organizational change in a way that doesn't send people sort of running for the virtual doors, if you will? I think those are, redefining those processes are just as important as figuring out what tools need to be adopted for these organizations. The other solutions that I've seen are people getting to be much better listeners. Organizations are much better listeners to their audiences now, and I think that is driven by the increased need to collaborate and the increased need to remain competitive. With that in mind, I saw a number the other day that said that the organizations who have embraced innovation, who were maybe reluctant to before, are doing it at 10 times the rate that they previously were pre-pandemic. I thought that was really interesting. And that happens on purpose. That's not just a thing that happens by accident. The last thing that I will say in terms of important innovations that I've seen are the importance of workplace culture and values of diversity and inclusion. Now, I'll touch on each one of them quickly. I don't want to take too much time. Now, the importance of culture is important. When you're working from home, it's very different than going to a job or a workplace culture you're maybe not crazy about every day, but you still get to come home, and that's a different space. The boundary between the home and the workplace becomes blurred, I find. And so that, being able to feel that your virtual workplace culture is a positive one can very much affect your emotional well-being. It can affect your family's healthy and proper functioning and all of that. And it's really encouraging to see organizations getting with that and starting to understand that they need to do that if they want to retain and attract top talent. And the last thing is the diversity question. This was important before, but in a remote scenario, it can also be very difficult for people who struggle to achieve visibility often or have their voices heard in the workplace. It can actually make that harder for them unless there is a concerted effort among leadership and on behalf of the organization to make that a priority. That's what I've seen. That's what I've seen people struggle with and very much excel with in many ways. And working with the younger generations, as Tamara was saying, is really great because we're actually helping them help these organizations get better at these things and helping them innovate. And these young people are definitely misunderstood, and I promise you, they are scary talented.